So Abby, without further ado.
All right, I'll take it away. Thanks, Lee, so much. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for wanting to get outside of the box and do something that's, not CE, but rather follow inspiration. I find a lot of times when we follow that calling to do something new, and it puts us on the edge of our comfort zone a little bit, but that is where all the new growth happens, is on that edge, on that grassy green, uncomfortable edge. And that's where I love to live, on that place where we level up, right? When we talk about a level up, right? I mean, we are talking about reaching a new level of expertise, right? That new heightened level that offers greater insight and ultimately generates trust and confidence with your clients. And it is that trust and that confidence that we want so that we can gain their cooperation. I always say, gain their confidence, you gain their cooperation. And when I talk about cooperation, I'm talking about on all your recommendations for price and presentation and all of that goes into it. And ultimately, Vince Lombardi, one of our known as the winningest coach of all time, said that confidence is contagious. And so is the lack of confidence. We are needing our clients to often borrow some of our confidence about the things that need to happen, right? We push them to do things they've never done before. Maintenance they've deferred for years because they just didn't know what to do or felt confident enough to do it. So we need you to step into that room with so much authority and confidence that they can literally relax in your presence. Like we all do when we are in the presence of a true professional, where when it is undeniably felt. That's a true level up. All right. So we are going to be working on the leveling up so that we can offer that kind of service to our clients. All right. I'm going to start by sharing my screen because I tried to pack a lot in on this one. And so I'm going to really try to not delay. Guys, I hope that you all had a chance to get the handout. Is that something I should throw into the chat room? You know what? One of my heritage title, if anybody needs the handout for the class today, mention it in the chat, and I imagine the gals can drop that a link to that PDF for you in there because it will be following along. It's going to help you take notes and answer questions, and it's got some details to come back to. So I really did try to hone through all of my most popular classes, and I've got at least, about 15 continuing education courses on architecture and home prep and communication and video, and try to take some of my favorite takeaways and pack them into this class. So we're going to be looking at a few things. One is going to be the home improvement trends. I think there will be a few that you're not expecting. I'm going to refresh, literally, we're going to update your vocabulary, your language for architecture when you're standing in front of your properties and you're describing or discussing them, or you're writing your listing descriptions. Everywhere that you're talking about your descriptions, I call that your listing language, right? Whether you're showing a home and you're using this elevated listing language, or it's in your writing, either way, we're going to turn up that volume by infusing it with some current architectural terms. Well, wouldn't that feel good? I know that feels good. When we know our product and feel like we know our product, right? Because that's a sure sign of a pro, someone who knows their product. Next, we're going to get into some agent communication, right? Because we can talk theoretic and we can add vocabulary, but I really want you to get clear on having some criteria for your clients. And last but not least, we're going to talk about that number one impression that you want to leave your clients leave with your clients at your next listing appointment. All right, so let's get rocking and rolling. We'll click the screen. So beginning with something very fun, let's start with the trends with, of course, resale in mind. And anytime that we are talking about preparing a home for resale, we are shooting for that transitional style of design. And so in my language right now, it is very eclectic. We're going for an eclectic transitional. So if they ask you, what sort of a look are we doing here? It's always, while this is lovely what you have here, it's not necessarily the staged look, which is the formula that gets the results you called me for. So we're going to dial in a more eclectic transitional look, that staged look, so that you can perform at your best. Notice down below the traditional. So transitional design for the stage look is an eclectic, minimalist expression of contemporary design. So literally, it's everything that's going on in contemporary design, which is very blended, just like our architecture right now, but yet it's going to be the minimalist version of that if you're doing it for resale. All right. So doesn't that already, we're adding language to express what we're doing with our clients. Now, that means I got to know what's going on in contemporary design, right? Let's look at some of these styles that we are currently infusing to update our homes. All right. So we're either updating typically by infusing some industrial touches, coming in with some glam touches like mirror covered tables and polished brass or brushed brass beverage carts, all of that. That's that Hollywood Regency glam. Always, we love to bring in, especially in Austin, Texas, we love to bring in a touch of mid-century modern, don't we? So throw that in, a little bit of Scandinavian. And if you're not sure, I know you've probably heard that word a lot. And if you're not sure, we're going to unpack Scandinavian because it is so ubiquitous and so popular. Next is traditional. Traditional is not out of style. We want elements of traditional. Look at this picture right here. Everything I'm talking about is in this picture. So when you look at that, that beautiful tufted bench sofa across, that is a traditional element. Traditional is usually old world and it's very generous and tufted and carved, right? So we want touches of that. And then we got to throw in some primitive. Look at this picture. What's primitive here? Yeah, what do y'all see? Are you looking at that big stag horn? Right, that's very primitive. We want something that feels like tribal or really rustic or something very earthy, like gemstones and, things that feel petrified slabs of stone with polished nickel, X legs. It's that rustic and refined that we love. And then last but not least are the artisanal touches. We want something that feels, kind of wabi-sabi. You know that term wabi-sabi, the Japanese word for the perfection. Yeah, Pamela, my artist. Yeah. That perfection in the seemingly imperfect. That is us. We are wabi-sabi. We are perfect in all our seemingly imperfect ways. It's the character. We want that in each room. We want an artisanal, handmade piece. All right. So these are the things that we're injecting into our homes to update them, and they are what are happening in contemporary design, and we will be doing a minimalist version that plays with these elements if we want to be on the pulse. And do we want to be on the pulse? When I am talking resale, I want to be so on that pulse. I mean, absolutely on trend, right? I want people to walk in and go, oh, this feels so now. This feels so now. And everybody's going to want it, right? That's what we're going for. So what is this style? I'm going to open up my chat and just make sure, see who can guess it. Oh, that chat's been active. What, anybody want to take a guess? It's one of the styles I just mentioned, and we are seeing it everywhere. This is a particular, thank you, Sharmila. Thank you. Thank you, Tammy and Lily. Yes, y'all, Scandinavian. You got it. This is Scandinavian. Oh, good. They're coming in. Kay, Laura, all of y'all. Good. I'm glad y'all can identify this. Scandinavian is going to be, this is white walls, blonde floors, Very sleek, modern meets very organic. Lots of plants, typically some modern art, right? And then we're going to be using a lot of wood and leather in our furniture. Look at these wooden chairs. They're very, it's that Norwegian mid-century modern lines, right? But it's all done out of that beautiful wood. That chair to the left, that's another very Scandinavian design. And so when we see these, the trend for the all white rooms, that was coming from that Scandinavian meets with all that organic, right? So I'll see notes of, leather and wood and fur, beautiful like plush fur and woven rugs. Sometimes we'll have, in fact, sometimes you'll see those rugs turn very vivid because it's the contrast. I'll show you that next. So this is Scandinavian. Look at all of that beautiful soft wood. We're going to be looking for blonde woods and lots of white, and then state of the art, right? It's that contrast again. So this would be an eclectic Scandinavian design. It feels a little bit more of a rustic Scandinavian or a Midwestern Scandinavian. If it doesn't feel like, I love the infusion of the Western elements, and that's why I might start coming in with more descriptive phrases. Yes, it's Scandinavian in nature, but we can further define that by calling out some of the more rustic elements or that Western vibe, that Midwestern Scandinavian. Fun, huh? Now, what is in this mix? What is in this mix right here? I'm going to scroll back real fast, or you got it on your paper. This is what I want you to be choosing from. Industrial, glam, mod, Scandinavian, traditional, primitive, and artesian. What am I seeing right here? Anybody want? Great. Someone's seeing the glam. We are seeing look at that Bridget Bardot. I mean, that is about as Hollywood Regency, vintage glam as we can get. So we've got a little glam moment, right? Y'all see the little mid-century modern Spudnik. Anytime, that's a play off of what we do is we take these things that were traditionally like mid-century and we're going to exaggerate, right, and modify, but we're still pointing back to that mid-century if I have a Spudnik. Right? The barn door, perfect. Lily, totally industrial farmhouse. Nailed it. Exactly. Another industrial element is the concrete. We're seeing more and more concrete in our architecture and in our furnishings. And when you do, that's an industrial element. So that table with the concrete top and the black steel base, very industrial. Right? Mary Beth, I know, I love this look too. I love it. Do y'all notice the artisanal touches? That's that pottery and the hand-blown glass, very artisanal, right? I've got the Scandinavian chairs. So we can begin to see we've got all these little different elements that are playing out in contemporary design. There it is, industrial, farmhouse, mid-century, Scandinavian, artisanal, and glam. Y'all nailed it. Good. So now I want to get more into specifics, as in what's trending in spaces, colors, and paint, exteriors, floors, wall coverings, cabinetry, counters, and furnishings. Now, y'all know we do an entire class, like an hour long, just on the updates of the trends. So I'm going to be hitting the high marks with you, okay? Hitting the high marks. In spaces, guys, looking at this picture, I'm giving you a hint. I'm going to look at the chat. What did she say? I'm sorry, question. What is the blank in home design trend number 2? Let me get my handout out. I should have my handout to be following along. White walls and organic elements. That's the blank on number 2, organic elements. Yeah. All right, perfect. So the most timely spatial trend right now, what do y'all see? What do y'all think it is? It has to do, right? Function drives design. It drives design. What are people needing right now? What's going on at home right now, right? Thank you. Thank you, Lily. It's the home office. Good job, Tony. On it. Y'all are on it. It is, we are all at home. We are all living at home and working from home. A home office or a multifunctional space, right? To infuse more of that functionality within. We've got the majority of us are working with open floor plans where we can infuse more functionality that will show your potential buyer that this space can truly accommodate us right now. I forget what the stat is, but it is very high. Everyone who is buying is looking for that home office. Right? And if it's not just for them, it's also for the children. Where are their learning spaces now that they are working from home? Right? So very timely trend right now, home offices and multi-function rooms. Look at how industrial those walls are. Do you see I see Scandinavian, mid-century modern. I love it. And talking about color, cream. So, you know, cream is the new white. Folks, cream is the new white. That bright white, little harsh. We are moving away from the white, and we are going to add more texture before color to add contrast. All right, so that is on your sheet 5. For contrast, add texture before color. Look at all this texture in the space. That's the look that we want, right? And this softer cream is moving into taupes and soft beiges. I thought I'd never say the word beige. Beige is back, baby. And it feels good. It is warm. These warm neutrals and these creams are life supportive. They feel so good. And so if we are painting our cabinets, which is something I know you have to recommend a lot, let's steer clear of the bright white and go for something very softer, something more neutral, something more greige, right? Greige. Everyone, can you say the word? Let's say it out loud. 1, 2, 3. Greige. Greige. I'm looking at your lips. You're not saying it. Greige. We have to say these words when they do sound funny sometimes because makes us feel more comfortable. Here, feel free to screenshot this or anything you would like to do. These are some of my go-to greige and whites. I love that alabaster from Sherwin-Williams. I also love Swiss coffee from Behr. I use that a lot with the toasty gray from Behr. Toasty gray is a color that's light enough. I've had great success. It holds its neutral. It doesn't turn. You know, some can turn more blue or turn more green. It is a very slightly warm, it's a perfect grayish. Slightly warm gray. It feels good, and it is light enough that if I'm coming through for resale and need to paint the walls and ceilings, it's light enough that I can also use it on the ceilings to bring down my cost, because what is the biggest variable in every make-ready project? Your labor, right? Labor and complexity of the design. The next thing is going to be the cost of materials that you decide to use. Last is going to be the time of the year that you try to do it. Big variables. So let's keep that design simple. Ceilings and walls, all one color, right? In something light enough and in a flat sheen for resale. Flat sheen, because I need flat on my ceiling, okay? And flat touches up better than anything else. All right. Feathers of a dove, used it, you know, ton of times. All of these are very dependable, great colors. Sherwin-Williams Accessible Beige is as beige as I will go. And when you are in a space that is super warm and every gray is turning blue, turn to Sherwin-Williams Accessible Beige. It saved the day for me just the other day again. If I'm playing with accent colors, play with the navy. Do it. Play with the navy. Play with it on the lowers. Bring attention. When do I use contrast? To bring attention to something great, usually, or to correct balance in a room. So if I had a big island and I wanted to choose what to paint, and I only wanted to paint one thing, I would paint the feature, the big island, okay? If you're picking and choosing, bring attention with an accent color to the feature, okay? So navy is one. What is the second name of the Toasty Behr paint? Oh, Toasty, oh, here, let me come up here, sorry, Toasty Gray, N320-2. I did about 32 new home build, new build consultations last year with clients. That was a lot of color picking. And Toasty Gray was one that fit the bill so many times and looks lovely. So I can really vouch for it. Charcoal, lots of charcoal. So if I want to go dark, I'm going navy. I'm going charcoal. Look at this beautiful wainscoting. Look at it. Oh, and here's some more wall texture, right? Got some beautiful wall panels here and in a soft pink. Oh, who loves the pink? Raise your hand. Heritage, who loves the pink? Someone there's loving it, I look like. Yes, okay. Yeah. Me too. As you can tell, I love the pink. I love that it's in design and it's in high design. I'm seeing it on front doors. I'm seeing it in laundry rooms. I'm seeing it in sophisticated sitting rooms like this. Some people call this soft pink millennial pink. It's kind of a trendy name for it. But pink is on. Oh, Mary Beth is like, no. Mary Beth, you're a tomboy, okay? Oh, I love it. Pepto-Bismol pink. It's crazy, guys. Well, maybe you play with the blues because these bluey greens. We're seeing a lot of blue, but more green. A lot of green. Every shade of green. Soft greens, muted greens. Who is it? Everyone? Chip and Joanna. Joanna came out with some paint colors. One was called Magnolia Rain. It's this one right here. I took this off of a blog. So beautiful. Beautiful. Soft green. Now, what else is happening on the walls is you may have noticed full wall panels and a lot of wainscoting or wainscoting. However you like to say that. You can say wainscoting or wainscoting, right? So you got the chair rail, and then if you fill it in, it's the wainscoting, or if I can go the whole wall. We are adding architectural details to our homes because we are in this era that is an architectural revival. We are experiencing nothing short of an architectural revival right now. So we want more details and we want more texture. So if I can get wall coverings with texture and shape, that's really on trend and becoming more popular. And again, here, large prints. I'm sure you'll love this one, Mary Beth. So big wall prints, whether they're floral or otherwise. Y'all, floral is everywhere. I'm talking, when I went to High Point Market this year, it's the largest market in the world, 11 million square feet. I probably saw a million men in floral patterned outfits, like shirts and pants. And remember, the people shopping market are often ahead of the curve, right? They're on the front end of that trend. So just get ready, more florals in all of our textiles coming. All right. Otherwise, I'm adding a lot of interior stone veneer. Look at that. Look at that limestone in a ledge cut dry stack full to the ceiling. Right? If you get into the building materials class, you're going to learn everything you need to know about stone and cedar posts and all of that good stuff, the different cuts of the stone. And then look at the hollow beams, right? I want the rustic and the refined. Beautiful. Let's move to our exteriors, guys. We have got some trends happening on the outside. If you haven't noticed, there's a whole lot of board and batten going on. That's the white panels of Hardie. Another product is going to be an engineered wood called LP SmartSide. It's the company that's manufacturing engineered wood that is about to give Hardie Plank its biggest run for its money. It has more benefits, same price. So that is coming down the chute as far as trending materials. It's been Hardie for the last 10 years, hasn't it? But I can get those panels of board and batten in either an engineered wood or Hardie, very popular. What look of architecture is constantly using board and batten? It's probably one of the biggest trends in architecture. I'm going to point this down just a little bit. I'm looking in my chat. It goes, it's something that Chip and Joanna do a lot of. Thank you, Cynthia. Farmhouse, right? That board and batten is synonymous with farmhouse. So is, the raised seam metal roofs. But that when I see that, they're injecting a little little contemporary or modern farmhouse into the design. We're using much larger windows. I don't have to tell you that. If you're ever in a situation, I like using My Glass Guys in Austin. They've got different locations. Did you know it's a lot less expensive just to have My Glass Guys pop out the glass and put in a different glass rather than take the whole darn window out? And while you got the glass popped out, you might as well go ahead and paint it black, right? Or bronze, dark bronze, if not black. That window casing, that's the look, right? You can also get new windows. They're now available. They just became available maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago. I feel like it was just a couple years ago. I started seeing the vinyl, the vinyl window inserts that we use more than anything. They became available in a dark bronze, which reads almost black. And it's actually better. It works great with the cedar tones because there's a little bit of that bronze undertone. Then, of course, we're doing lots of horizontal lap injections of cedar, both on whether it be on that horizontal lap siding, sometimes also up in the soffit. Notice the trend for the metal accents and the dark fascia. So when I've got that dark fascia, my formula for resale on paint goes, well, I know I can't use that on my soffit, so I'm going to use that dark trim on the fascia around all my windows. I'll do some of my side and back doors in that color, but I'm going to need to probably just bring the siding color up and underneath the soffit. That'll also paint all of my underneath of my porches, if it's not real cedar. If it's cedar, we'll get a semi-transparent stain on that thing, okay? Always semi-transparent when you're staining your rough sawn cedar. There's your language. When you're talking to your clients, you'll say on the exterior, we're going to hit all the rough sawn cedar elements with a semi-transparent stain to breathe some life back into that thirsty wood. All right, we've got rough sawn cedar posts and headers and shutters and exposed trusses and soffits, lots of cedar elements, right now. Something else we're doing, what if you've got brick or masonry, right? And you want to get that lighter look, right? So I can either whitewash it with paint, or even more exciting is when I alter the clay body by spraying it with a lime wash. I can get a big old 5-gallon bucket for $225, put it on a sprayer, spray that dark brown or red brick and watch it turn into this just dimensional, soft, varied. What you're looking at right here, that's a lime wash. Very cool, very on trend. So get on that one if it makes sense, if the ROI is there. Let's do it. Look, Lily's talking about it, y'all. I love when we share our personal experiences. It's so validating, right? Lily loves it. So many flips are painted that bright white, right? And it's too abrasive. It doesn't feel as natural. They would have been better to have whitewashed it, gone a little softer, thinned it out, or lime washed. So put that in your little book. The other big thing that we're doing is adding awnings, metal sections and awnings over. Where do awnings go? Over doors and windows, right? And if I really want to be cool, I'll do that Galvalume raised seam metal awning, right? Galvalume. That little section, if it's got that powder coated factory finish color on there, oh baby, that is a builder upgrade. Okay, so be sure and point that out. Also, there's that pink door I was talking about. 2 different variations. Look at that, y'all. This is happening where we are going so monochromatic and so neutral everywhere else. We are contrasting that with the wildest colors and paint I've ever seen on front doors in all of my years of design. This is so fun that on even the most sophisticated, I can go with a cadmium bright blue. I can go with a fun, Kelly green or purple or turquoise, violet. Don't hold back. This is the one place you are allowed to have a punch, and I would go for it because, again, where do I add contrast? To my features and my focal points. And if my entryway is not a feature or a focal point, you have a problem, right? That is a problem. So that needs to be made a focal point, and you can do it with color. All right. Sure, can do it with color. Something, before I go on, just a little tip here. I'm going to try to not interject too many because I know we're moving, but do notice, look at that blue house real fast. This is going to help you out when you get to a situation where there's a lot of action around the house, as in there are pilasters and transom trim and corner boards, and it's all getting very busy. Notice what they did. Look at the blue one. I say, all the rules stop here. If the corner boards usually get painted white, not here. Right here, I'm going to allow that trim color to wash over all that detail, allowing it just to be texture, and then make the pop on the feature, which is the front door, just to simplify, right? Make it bold and make it clean. See what they did? All of that detail. Okay, let's go back inside. This is your blonde floors, guys. Blonde floors, whether it is in ceramic stone or ceramic stone, right? So if it's ceramic, it's not real stone. And then I have natural stone tile. I can get tile either way. Which one is going to really save my pocketbook? That ceramic stone-like tile. Now, guys, we always make these decisions. What do we base these on? Right? Our finishes need to be competitive at our price point. So I'm literally looking at the price point we want and the direct competition in my neighborhood. At that price point, what kind of finishes do they have? Do they all have natural, tumbled travertine and marble on their floors? Well, then my faux materials are probably not going to fly, So we always have to put this through that filter. But needless to say, I'm going for a blonde look. And if I want to get a wood look, right? There's a few materials. I'm going to go highest price point to lowest. Here we go. Hardwood, engineered wood, ceramic wood tile. Right in between those is where I should put the porcelain wood tile. Who knows the difference between a ceramic wood tile and a porcelain wood tile? Why is the porcelain wood tile plank so much more? Guys, if I chip a tile that is a stone-like, it's been printed on top to have that stone look. If I chip it, you can see it's fake. Right now, it chips off the finish, right? And I see the white clay body. If it's porcelain, the look of the finish runs from the top all the way through the clay body. So if you chip it, you don't even notice, you continue just to see more of that finish, right? That it goes all the way through the clay body. It's not attached onto, it's not put on, okay? And then the bottom is what I'm using more than anything. LVP, baby, LVP, luxury vinyl plank. Right? It behaves like a tile. It's 100% waterproof. I can float it if I need to, and it comes now in every shape and make and model you can imagine. You want texture, you want it to look hand carved, you can get it. You can get it. And just know that a decent like a modest, ceramic tile and a luxury vinyl plank, once installed, are going to run your client the same amount. Off the shelf, LVP is more, ceramic is less. But once the installation and the additional materials that are required to lay the ceramic come into play, time and time again, I think I'm saving them a buck by not using the LVP. It would have cost me the exact same. So if you want the warmth of a wood, but behavior of a tile, go for LVP. Now, at certain price points, that becomes inappropriate. Right? So look at that. Look at your price point and just know I'm either going to lay it in a stack or an offset. And typically, whatever it is, make it run straight out the front door, because that's always the next question is, well, which way do we lay it? I want that plank to run out my front door. That's the direction. Otherwise, we're doing a lot of fun patterns, right? A lot of fun patterns. Who knows what this pattern is? What am I looking at here? Real popular. Good job. Good job. And you see those words, herringbone and chevron, used often interchangeably. Good job, y'all. I love this on the floor, and I love a good herringbone or chevron right behind, not on a full backsplash. Sometimes that's often a little busy for me with the veining on the stone, and then to see that. But I do like it in an area right behind the cooktop because, again, I want to create a textural contrast to drive my eye to the feature that is for sale, which is that gourmet cooktop, right? It's all about that. There is a method to our madness, right, guys? So if I'm not laying it in a pattern, I'm just buying a pattern. So we're still loving everything that's geometric, like the beehive. And this is really happening. It's happening so much. I did this on a coffee shop design last year in Temple, and I'm seeing it everywhere. I don't know if it's just that what is it when selective attention now because it's in my attention. I'm seeing it. Can I share a little sidebar with you guys? You know, this morning when I woke up, the first thing I do is I set my expectations because I know that selective attention is such that whatever I expect to see is what I'm going to begin to see in my reality. My brain's gonna find it. So I was a little sleepy this morning. I had a big day yesterday. And so the first thing I said this morning was, I am noticing how vibrant I feel. I'm noticing how supported I am. I'm noticing how effortless and joyful my work is. I say that that's sort of my head game behind the work that we do because the work that we do is so hard. I wake up and whatever it is I might be concerned about or feeling deficient in, I go ahead and prime my brain to find the other, right? The good. And it's incredible how selective attention actually will go to work for you. So that was definitely a side note. The other thing that I'm seeing on the floors that is all the rage, and it's not just on the floors, is the vintage artisanal tiles. And you're going to see it here as well. Now, for resale, that's a little bold, right? That's a little bit more, I wouldn't feel totally safe about that just in my average, like a beautiful track home or even a semi-custom home. I would probably go for something more neutral, but just so you know, this is big time, along with the farmhouse sinks and the exposed open shelving. We are seeing a number of trends here, aren't we, guys, in the little brass handles. Let's keep talking tile, though. Let me get this fit to the space. If in doubt, just go all the way up. If in doubt, go all the way. Okay, babies? Take it all the way up. Look at that. That's what's in vogue. And if I can, I'm going to rip off an upper shelf or two so that I can get this look that says I am so now with my floating shelves. I want open shelving. If you've got an older home that you are trying to update, put this in your back pocket as a go-to. We're going to rip out an upper, usually oftentimes it's there at the corner, you know, or an entrance coming in right there. Just take out that big clunky uppers. Y'all look at this. We got the silver cup pulls, T-bars. I've got a subway. Notice the subway is a little bit thinner and longer. We've seen the subway so much, we're all kind of over the basic. Don't do the basic subway. Let's go for something longer, thinner, made of a different material than what we would just expect, right? So we want the modified subway. And we can also turn it up this way. Talk about a stack, right? No stagger here. Subway staggered. This is a stack. Anytime you do a stack, it's going to feel more modern, right? More contemporary. See that? All the way up, all the way up. There's that herringbone again. Zero threshold. Look at all those geometrics I've got on the floor. It's like this wood-like tile. Look, I've got the wood plank going on the tub. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Here, oh, I love this. Talk about rustic and refined, industrial and polished. Beautiful. Look at that. That's a heated towel rack. I love this. More and more wood on our counters. We're seeing it. So, guys, look, notice, I mean, this feels very Scandinavian, feels very now. We got the leather seating, geometrics, all white, hits of blonde wood. That That plant in the back is one of my favorite go-to plants because guess what? It will live in the dark. It will live with very little water, and it always looks very green and glossy. That's your Zamioculus. A Zamioculus is, they're all over inside, like at the World Trade Center where there's no light. They've got Zammies everywhere. They always look great. They're perfect for staging. Look at those brushed brass. Like that's that when that brass turns from brush to feeling very vintage and very old and actually kind of darkening around the crevices, you can call that an heirloom brass, is what they call that, heirloom brass. So if you don't go for like a brushed brass, which kind of feels like a soft gold, you know, if you don't do that, then we'll go for heirloom. Otherwise, I want a polished nickel. Nickel is the new chrome because it's a little bit warmer. Chrome is cool. Polished chrome is cool. Polished nickel is a warmer. Okay. Otherwise, if I'm not doing tile going up, right? This is what we're seeing. We're seeing more full stone, aren't we, guys? More. We just want to see that. I just want to see less thresholds on my floor and on my walls. Look at that stone going right up. Solid stone backsplash. Beautiful. Here it is again. I mean, guys, this is the look. I mean, this is your look. Look at those taupey grayish cabinets, the stone turning up, right? Look, I've got fiber in the room, a nice blonde wood, big brass T-bars, glass. If you've got heavy hand wrought, you know, like wrought iron steel left over from the Tuscan and old world thing that we were doing all through the 90s and all through the early 2000s, if you've got that stuff in your home, one of the best ways you can update that is to take it out and bring in something with more glass, more on trend metals. All right. Okay. I need to pick up my pace. Talking about cabinets, we are either, and this should be number, where are we at? Number 14. So I'm either going to be doing a contemporary shaker. Now this is a shaker. It's been around since the colonial times. We love this. It's very simple. It's always perennial. It comes back into style, in vogue. And often what we're doing right now in this era of architecture called Neo-Eclectic, what we're doing is we're playing with traditional elements, but then we are exaggerating them. Right? So I'll see something like a craftsman-like loft, but it will be exaggerated. I'll take a rooftop dormer and bring it down the wall to make it a wall dormer, and because I'm exaggerating that window element. So same here. This is just a little exaggerated. It's a little fatter, makes it feel more contemporary shaker style. Otherwise, I want flush. We're just going flush, right? Look at that beautiful flush. No, not even any hardware. Look at the island, those mitered cuts, so I can get that waterfall edge. So mitered cuts, waterfall edge, right? Low profile bar stools. If I see one more listing that's got the feature everybody wants, and then you've buried it in bar stools with a big and bulky and brown leather, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. Right? Support your feature. So minimize those bar stools. This is what you want. Okay. Look at those exaggerated baseboards. Anybody seeing that? We are going nuts with trim on the insides of our homes. That's how we are enhancing them. These are our different colors. We are going more windows, more black. This time is flying. We are going dark sinks, lighter countertops. I'm going to start picking up my pace just a little bit. Counters, matte or low sheen. That means I want honed or leather when it comes to my stone. Polish, of course, is the most popular. It's been around forever, but it is going out of popularity. If I really want to raise the sophistication, I'm going to turn down the sheen and go for maybe a soapstone or, yeah, a leather or honed stone. These are my colors and lighting, right? Lots of glass, Spudniks, tons of accent lighting now with sconces. Thin metal, exaggerated floor lamps, and then again, just little mention of the metals that we are using. Those top three in particular, right, are the metals. Look at that exaggerated floor lamp. Furnishings. We're moving into velvets. Notice that was a velvet, little transition into that. Tweeds. And notice the low profile. We are continuing with a very mid-century modern low profile. Here it is in the room. Look at that low profile. This is that transitional space, right? And get ready for some curve. Curvature is here. Curved edges, curved furnishings everywhere. Notice the blush and the green. Curved furnitures. We're also going to throw in more green, okay, in our furnishing, in our elements, in our space, more green. The three that are most popular are going to be some version of a cactus, a fiddly fig, or there's the zamioculus, okay? Throw it in a basket and you are on trend, baby. Those are the plants. Who knew that plants could be trendy, right? A palm is always good, but you can do better with a fiddly fig. All right, a few things on our architectural language. I know we got started about a few minutes after. I'm going to keep going to about 10 after 10, okay? I think we can get this in. All right, this is really, this is our architectural language. So for example, a neo-modern Mediterranean. We are dealing with neo-eclectic architecture. That's what's going on right now. It is a revivalism. We are borrowing from very traditional elements, right? So it was modern that ended in the 70s. We moved into postmodern, right? And then we are out of postmodern is coming this neo-eclectic era where we are not being experimental in form at all, like postmodern. Very traditional, except we're borrowing all and mashing together. We're taking this traditional element and this traditional element and trying them out together and throwing in a few more materials. So this is neo-eclectic. So this is a neo-eclectic colonial. Otherwise, another phrase I could say is that it's a contemporary provincial Tudor McMansion, right? It's provincial. Provincial means as another word for country, right? Countryside. You could probably use another word for farm, right? Because it's always like farm and country and rustic, provincial. And I know that when I see the wooden elements, like the wooden, if I see wooden shutters or what looks like a carriage or wooden garage, they're going for something a little bit more country or provincial, right? Tudor sloping, front-facing gables, Tudor sloping roof. I know it's calling on Tudor. So I've got a neo-eclectic colonial to be simple, or if you want to further explain, you can. Now, different from a revival. This is a federal, right? Colonial revival. We learn all about this in architecture. So if you want to learn more, there is more for you, but just real simple, you'll see these colonial. This is a colonial revival, right? This is classical architecture. This is neoclassical architecture with that foreshortened roof right there. Coming from what we borrowed from the Greeks. This is classical, but it's a colonial revival, right? It's not neo-eclectic. Neo-eclectic means I'm going to borrow some things and then I might exaggerate it and I'm going to throw a bunch of materials and a couple other styles in there too. So if it's a revival, if it's something I can identify, it's a federal, it's a classical architecture. Now, not this. This is neo, right? This is a provincial neo-Tudor McMansion again, right? This is a neo-craftsman English country home. Now, what do you see that's craftsman, guys? Let's look. I'm seeing accentuation of these columns outside with a big stone pier. That's craftsman. And more of a deep set or wider covered porch. The exposed rafter tails is a big indicator, because craftsman is when we started saying, well, what if I don't put that fascia on there? What if I don't do that? And I just allow the truss to be seen. All these exposed trusses you're seeing, that's borrowing from the craftsman, right? Where they decided to say, let's let the function be the form. It was the first modern thought in architecture happened around the craftsman. So I've got exposed rafter tails. I've got lots of these stone piers. I know that yet it also feels very, but it's got these high-pitched front-facing gables, right? So that's very Tudor, also English. All right, something else that's big right now. If it's not neo, I'm going to tell you guys, probably 80%, something like that, is going to be a neo-eclectic home if it's contemporary new construction. Otherwise, a lot of us are playing with this modern minimalist, otherwise known as a 21st century modern. Use that in your language. This is a 21st century modern home with smart home capabilities, right? Different from mid-century, right? We had mid-century, now we have 21st century. So this right here is not, this is not this sort of deconstructivist minimalist look where I'm putting these blocks together. No, I'm borrowing from my mid-century, aren't I? Borrowing from mid-century. So this is a mid-century modern eclectic. Notice that word eclectic. Housing divisions will use it. They'll say you can build in one of these 2 or 3 styles, a Spanish eclectic, a Tudor eclectic, you know, a French eclectic. They're saying make it feel French, but it doesn't have to be true to form a revival. You can throw in some other elements and other materials to make it eclectic. So that's another way that we can kind of cover a lot of ambiguity by saying the eclectic. Let's talk about the ranch, because the ranch, prior to the neo-eclectic movement, was the most popular style. It is what created subdivisions and tract homes. It's what happened. It first was introduced in like the early, after like 1920s, 1930s, but it wasn't until really the 40s did it, after the war, did it pick up and we started building. By 1960s, it was everywhere. That's the ranch. So there's your authentic 1960s ranch, right? And now we have the Rambler. The Rambler is also a ranch. When I say ranch, y'all, it is defined as it's going to be a rectangular, low profile, you know, either rectangle or square. So when I've got a low profile little box track home, it is a Rambler, otherwise named still a ranch. It just doesn't have that real iconic ranch vibe, right? And now here is a Rambler with a craftsman influence, right? We're going to pop out some little dormers on top and accentuate some pillars, right? And then I'm going to get to what we are now doing all the time. It's a styled ranch. We're doing a styled ranch, and I can do it in any style. I can do it in every colonial style we've had. I can do a ranch. I can do a French styled ranch. I can do a Spanish styled ranch. I can do, right? You know, get that? This is also, if this is 1.5 stories, this is also a bungalow. I could say a Tudor ranch bungalow, or a Tudor ranch eclectic bungalow. We're getting some verbiage, aren't we, guys? And now here's a modern ranch bungalow, right? And it's got a very farmhouse vibe with that metal roof. We're starting to bring it in. Here's your traditional, right? You know this. There's your craftsman bungalow. Now here's a contemporary Italian bungalow, or Tuscan, or a Texas Tuscan bungalow, right? I know it's Italian when I get those big, when you get that pyramidal hipped roof at the top of a tower, it's Italian, okay? They're trying to go Tuscan. This is like the new Tuscan, all right? Here it is again, Tuscan eclectic, or I just call it a Texas Tuscan, right? With that limestone, it's all updated. Now let's look at this. This is also Mediterranean, but this does not feel very Tuscan, and it doesn't feel even very Texasy, right? This is that modern Mediterranean, and it's a 21st century modern. It's a neo-modern Mediterranean. Here's the modern Tudor minimalist. Remember that word, minimalist. Here's a modern colonial English farmhouse. It is, I mean, this is so post-medieval English, brand new, first colonial style home, revamped, very modern. Now, guys, because farmhouse is everywhere, I want you to add something to farmhouse. That's why I want you to add these words like colonial English farmhouse and Tudor, you know, minimalist farmhouse. I also want you to add Dutch modern farmhouse. This is that gambrel roofline, otherwise known as barnitecture. We're seeing a lot of barnitecture. If you've got that gambrel roofline, go ahead and infuse the word Dutch, because that's what that is. And then here is just your, look at that cupola on top, contemporary neo-traditional farmhouse. Okay? Something that you ought to know about, guys, this will be the last architectural term I'm going to give you, is vernacular. Vernacular is, it's a word that is trending right now to mean sustainable, locally resourced materials. So when we are building in a more sustainable, using locally resourced materials, this is a big trend. And instead of using the words we hear over and over again, like sustainable and locally sourced, you can say, oh, well, it's modern vernacular architecture. It is reminiscent of the second period of architecture that we had in America, which was the vernacular, when we went out west and we started building with what we had. Okay, so that is vernacular. Screenshot this because I'm not going to wait. I got a couple more things to cover with you before we wrap up today. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing real good. We're going to wrap up at 10 after. So screenshot this. These are all the words that I want you to infuse into your language. They're everything I just covered, right? Neo-Eclectic, Neo-Traditional, Neo-Colonial. Is it provincial? Modern vernacular. If you're talking farmhouse, I want some variation of farmhouse. Industrial modern farmhouse, traditional farmhouse, contemporary farmhouse, country farmhouse, right? 21st century modern, smart home automation, styled ranch, Texas Tuscan, neo-modern. These are words. And, oh, look at the bottom. You can use things like it's influenced with, it is a rambler with craftsman influence, right? We can say reminiscent of or a blend of. There's a few things. Let's see. Yes, I'm getting some questions about, will I share this slide deck? I will. And how I'm going to share it is I'm going to share it with the folks at Heritage, because that'll make it a lot easier. All right. And I know all of y'all have registered and are in contact now with them to follow up. So I'll share this with them, the PDF. It's kind of a big file. It might have to be shared as a Google Drive link, but they'll share it with you guys. Okay. In their follow up. This is how we incorporate this language. When these are slides taken from the writing class, look at this opening statement and the elevated level up that it does for this home. Tour this stunning modern prairie style home in the heart of Dripping Springs. Step into this gorgeous hill country Tudor craftsman nestled in a beautiful neighborhood near the Wimberley Schools in town center. I can do short opening statements, longer opening statements, and we talk about more about that why and how and when and why in the writing class. Last one, be the first to live in this contemporary 2-story French colonial home near Parkside Elementary in Spring, Texas. Notice that when I infuse the architectural style, not only does it elevate the perception of the architecture, but also of the agent. Okay, also of you. Everything that you say, every word that comes out of your mouth when you are talking about your product is either gaining credibility or losing credibility in the eyes of your clients who know all too much, right? So let's talk a little bit about client communication in order to wrap up today. I want to give you guys a few nuggets to help you put into play some of the things that I know that you're having to do, some of the things you're having to work with, right? Getting that price and presentation just so on the mark to get the results from today's buyer. Today's buyer responds only to what they want. If you don't give them what they want, they're not going to buy, right? They'll move on. So we have a strategy. Let's see, where am I at? Under client communications, number 1, the 2-part strategy. Keep it simple, guys, for clients. You got to keep it simple for them. It's all very complex, so we keep it simple. I say, I have a very simple, my husband's a realtor. So we say, we have a very simple 2-part strategy to prepare every home. First thing we do is we remove all our objections. We spend a lot of time, the bulk of time, removing objections. And then the rest of our time is spent on enhancing the features and focal points. All right. That's it. That's what we do. And how do I know if it's an objection? It's not up to me. I mean, there's a criteria. This is the criteria, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It is an objection if, does it hide the home, date the home, show deterioration? I don't care if there is deterioration. If it shows deterioration within the first 4 minutes, it's a big objection, right? Does it offend or confuse? Those are going to be if it does any of those 4, then it's going to fall under the objection category. And it's something that we're going to both do everything within our power to correct. Otherwise, I'm going to be enhancing with the features and focal points. I'm going to update materials. I'm going to infuse lifestyle. I'm going to reduce or turn up the contrast as needed to draw my eye to that feature. All right. And my go-to quote is, whether or not it's worthwhile to do, Well, our finishes just need to be competitive with our price point. So at this price point, if we want to compete well, then we need to look like them, or we need to change our price point so we can get into a bracket where we can really compete well. That's what it's about, right? It's all about fewer days on market and first impressions. That's what all of this is about, right? So I have one mission, and really one base level buy-in agreement that I require all of my homeowners to agree on. And we just have to get this settled. In the very beginning, I say, you know, there's one thing that I pay great attention to, and that's identifying who your buyer is, your ideal buyer, that buyer that wants what we're selling the most, the buyer that's going to bring us our best offer. I'm going to spend a lot of time and attention identifying who that is and giving them what they want. They will dictate to us how we prepare this home, right? And how I list and market. My language changes depending on who I'm trying to resonate with. So do my furnishings. So do my price. So we're going to agree, if we can agree, to give the buyer what they want as best as we can, then I know we're going to be a great team. And that's one of those entry-level buy-ins that I think we need to get real clear on. It's not about them. It's not about me. It's about the buyer, right? Because everybody wants what everybody wants and nobody wants what nobody wants. I am working towards one very big moment, right? I want best offers. And when do they come? They always come right in the beginning. Typically, they come first, don't they? And how do they come? They come when my potential buyer walks into the space and looks around and goes, oh my God, everybody's going to want this at this price. And I mean, with these finishes, I mean, the way it looks, I mean, everybody's going to want this. When they feel like everybody wants it, they want it even more. That's how trends exist. That's how they work. So I walk in and this feels so on trend. It's priced well. It's presented. It's priced lean and presented well, essentially giving the buyer what they want, a good value, and it's move-in ready and it's on trend. That's when they turn to their agent and literally say, everybody's going to want this. What do we have to do? What kind of offer? Do we give them a full price offer? What do we need to do? That's how you generate that excitement, not by overpricing it or underperforming, right? No, you got to give the buyer what they want. So we price it lean and present it well. That's the strategy for today's quality sell, okay? We are no longer playing the game of buffering it with price just to bring down these price reductions. Nah, we've learned that's a lower level of service. A higher level of service is to give the buyer what they want and attract multiple full price offers, because we can when we work it. It works when we work it. And these are the three attitudes, and this is what I'm leaving you with today. The three attitudes I have found working in clients' homes for, well, I've been a professional interior designer for 17 years. I've been in front of the camera for 26, but I've been designing for 17. And I used to not get the results. Now, other agents say, how do you get these results when they walk through our home tours? This is it. This is the attitude I'm using. It is a 3-part attitude. It will gain respect. I used to lose respect because I was too nice. I wanted them to like me rather than showing up to do my job. I want you to put on your hat like your doctor's cap and come out there to be of service. You are there to evaluate the situation, let them know what you are concerned about, offer some of your confidence to them, and then coach them on their way. So let's look at it. The first is concerned, and I know that feels counterintuitive, but I'll tell you what, if you don't walk through, I'm concerned. Again, I'm like a doctor coming out or a concerned lawyer. There's a lot on the line. There's a lot at stake, and I'm concerned that you're not going to perform well given X, Y, and Z. If they're curb appeal, if they're telling me they're listing, I'm the first agent to their house, not me. My husband used to be. He could be the first agent because it was concerned. I'd say, oh, you're thinking of listing next year or in the spring? You know, our crew can do a lot on the inside real quick, but curb appeal requires time to cultivate. I'm concerned that you may not be ready when you're ready. I'm going to come by next week and just check it out. Okay, let me just come by and give you some pointers. The next thing I know, I've got the listing. So I'm concerned for how they're going to perform, right? So that's a learned behavior that will suit you. Rather than going through and complimenting and saying everything is nice, don't tight-lipped. Nothing is net where it needs to be to list. So nothing has met your standards ever. In that first walkthrough, nothing should meet your standards, because we know the way we live and the way we sell are not the same, and we need to set the platform that they are not ready yet. If you leave saying everything was lovely and you're not concerned, then what do they need you for? And they're good to go. So we need to set the seed that they are nowhere near ready, and oh, I'm really concerned, so that I can come in with my confidence. My confidence is, but you know what? If you list with us, I've got the best painter in town, or I've got the best stager, I'm not worried about it. Or if you list with us, I'll guide you on what we need to do for that. Or if you list with us, I'm not worried. You know, I'm confident we can fix this. So I bring attention to the issue, and then I let them, I don't fix it. I don't tell them what the solution is. Otherwise they'll take all my solutions at the listing appointment, and then they'll go list with their sister who's a realtor, because I just gave them everything. Don't give them everything. Tell them there's a problem. You might say, it is way too dark in here, and we've got a lot of color. It's not really the staged look. We're going to need to come through and neutralize this. I'll come by later with my stager, and we'll pick out some soft neutrals and some warm greiges and creams that'll work great. Don't tell them what, though. Tell them what you're going to tell them, but not specifically. And be real confident. Let them know you're going to fix it. And last but not least is the coach. This is where you literally are project managing, but you're coaching them. You're encouraging them. You're acknowledging their objections. Like if they've sold a home and it was 5-6 years ago, they probably did not have to do a lot of the things that you're going to require them to do this time. So we need to acknowledge objections and acknowledge resistance. This is where we say, I understand you didn't have to do this last time. I know I didn't used to have to do this either, but now this is why we do. And we start talking about it, and we coach them. We encourage them. This is the 3-part. If you walk in, trust me, they'll start listening to you more. Okay. Well, we covered a lot in about an hour, just a little over, but we started a few minutes late. You know, if y'all want to continue working outside of these training rooms, I always like to invite y'all into the private Facebook group, where if you ever have a quick question, that's how you can get my attention, or one of the other agents who have been in my classes and training. That's where all of them fall, is into that Elevate Your Real Estate Facebook group. If you've enjoyed your experience today and would like to share that with me, I'd love to hear about it via a Facebook review. I'm sure Heritage Title would as well. In fact, I'd love to turn it over to Lee Hollebeck and our crew from Heritage, because I'm so grateful. And I just want to say thank you and allow you to take us out.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Sorry, we were muted. Thank you, Abby. Your energy, your experience, all of your knowledge is just so welcome. We appreciate you being a part of Heritage Higher Education. We look forward to having you back again. And all of the attendees, we will send y'all the slideshow, as well as Abby's contact information. And again, on her website, it tells you everything that she does offer, as far as interior decorating, architectural advice, CE classes. So, Abby, we thank you so very much.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. And thank you, agents, for showing up today. I mean, it'd just be me and Heritage hanging out in a room talking if it weren't for y'all. I mean, I don't think it'd be That'd be great. But yeah, this year felt like a special event, seeing all of your beautiful faces. So I just love it. I love it. I'm going to scan through. There were some of y'all that were hiding. Oh, great to see all of y'all. Awesome. Well, y'all just go out and have an incredible day. And until I see you next time, elevate your real estate. Y'all are killing it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Bye.